Pastor James. She said not to look at it.
Okay, and while we are waiting on Jacob, just a little quick explanation why the video camera. I'm basically just videotaping myself, you know. I'm just trying to get myself just so I can take a look at it to see just good, bad, just what improvements I can make. I'm just trying to improve myself being a better
Are you
teacher.
going to show it to your teacher?
I am.
And your teacher is Mrs. Myers. And Miss Myers do it? Would you? Yeah, and your teacher is Mrs. Myers. She already told us.
Okay, so that is why I'm doing this. So again, it's you guys, if you can, keep your eyes on me. Let's not look at the video camera. Come on. I'm just stringing this along, waiting on you.
It's so hard not to look at the video camera.
Okay.
I know.
And the second thing is from starting right now at 10:40, we're going to have a zero level of talking unless you're asked to speak, unless I call on you. Because again, we all want to try to get to the movie today. So again, unless you raise your hand and I call on you, let's have a zero level of talking. Because just keep in mind, the more we have to stop and wait for someone who's not talking or not listening, that's less time we get to see the movie during recess. Okay, we got it? Thumbs up if we got it. Kai, we got it? Okay, all right. Okay, before we get started, I want to show you guys some things that I brought in. I have a Me Tub, and I named it Me Tub because it is filled with items about me.
And it was like a top.
And it's in a tub, so Me Tub. So before I show you what's actually in the tub, say for example, what if I pulled out a fishing pole, which I don't have in here, but what if I pulled out a fishing pole out of this tub, out of my Me Tub? What would that, raise your hand, what would that possibly tell you about me if I pulled out a fishing pole? Sonia.
That means you go fishing.
Exactly, very good. It would mean, but did I tell you that I like to go fishing? Okay. Very good. You guys are very smart. You're going to do very good. I can already tell you. Okay, but exactly. It means that it would mean that I like to fish. I didn't tell you that I like to fish, but you saw the fishing pole and you put two things together that Mrs. Fields likes to fish.
Could you give us clues?
What did we say? Trevor, when is the only time we're going to talk? When you raise your hand. Exactly. Okay. So I'm going to real quickly show you the items, and then once I show you all the items, we're going to talk about what it possibly says about me. So here is the first item. Everybody, eyes on the speaker. Okay, we're going to look at all of them first. Here is the next item.
What's that?
Here, okay. Here, remember. Here is the next item. Okay. Next item. Okay. And the last two items.
Super sports.
Okay. But again, basic. Okay.
Super sports.
So, I just showed you some things in my Me Tub. So, based on those things that you just saw, based on those clues, Caitlin, what can you tell me about me? One thing. Okay, all right. Caitlin says that I like to cook. All right, Brianna.
You have your own daughter.
Okay, that I have. And how many people were how many girls were in the picture?
Two. You
Okay.
and your daughter.
Okay. All right, Jacob, what else? Okay. Jonathan. Jonathan, you see something in the
That you like cooking?
that I like cooking, okay, right here.
That you want to
Yes.
lose pounds?
Okay.
Oh man, I like that one.
And there was, I think there was one other item, Trevor S. What was,
Oh, you got a Kendall.
and what would, and
It's in
why
two
would
notes.
that be in there? What would
To
most,
probably like take notes, probably.
okay,
Read.
okay.
Read.
And Ethan said,
Read.
okay, remember, thank you.
Ow.
Remember, only if you're called on.
So
You have to remember,
did
that's
I
less
get it
time,
right?
you did, that's less time that we're gonna see the movie. One more thing, what was the one more?
It wasn't a Kendall, it was a note.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the point was that, okay, hands down, the point was that I didn't tell you any of those things about me. But you now know that I like to cook, I have 2 daughters, I like the University of South Florida. Okay, we're waiting. Okay, I think that's probably 2 minutes off of the movie. Okay, that I like the University of South Florida, which actually is the college that I went to. What else? That I like to read. That was my e-reader. And that I like to cook. So again, I didn't tell you any of those things, but now you know some things about me. And Vincent, earlier, he was so smart, he knew what we were leading to. He told us, I think you said that you did what? What were you guys doing when you were guessing those things or putting those 2 things together? And you were, okay, say it loud, we were doing what? Inferencing. We were making inferences or inferring. Yes.
Did you say you have 2 daughters? Because on the picture I only saw 1.
Oh, okay. That's because my other daughter is very tall, and maybe you even thought it was me.
That's what I thought.
I'm sorry, but yes,
At
my
first I
other
thought-
daughter is very tall.
okay.
She's actually taller
She
than I
looks
am.
like you, that's how I got you
Okay.
confused.
All right. Yes. I
Yeah,
have
at
2
first I
daughters.
thought that was you.
Okay. All right. So, where was I? Oh, okay. What Vincent was saying was inferring, that we were inferencing, inferring. And it sounds like I don't even need to put this on the board because you guys are so smart. You already know. Okay, so again, infer or to make inferences. So give me, Vincent just told us what we were doing. Can someone actually give me the definition then of what it is to infer? Okay, Jonathan?
Guessing.
Okay, guessing. And what are we guessing?
Things about a person or things about something else.
Okay,
What estimated.
okay, all right. So Caitlin, what? Okay, let's listen. Think about this one. Okay, he said guessing.
It's kind of like,
Related to like a story, like to a text,
like
inferring.
inferring is like trying to, like you're just looking at stuff that someone else has, but you're just guessing what they really do or something like
Okay, all right, good. So you said
that.
looking at something like someone has, maybe you were looking at a story, looking at some text that someone else has written.
I didn't know that my best friend likes soccer, but after I saw her soccer ball, I
Okay, very good. So let's use that. Okay, let's use that example that Caitlin just gave. She said she didn't know that her friend liked soccer. She saw a soccer ball, which was a clue. She saw the soccer ball the same way we saw the objects in here. And she then related what she already knows about a soccer ball. Okay, my friend has a soccer ball. She must like soccer or play soccer. So she related what she knew, what her already knew in her brain about soccer balls. She put the 2 together. She connected them, and then she said, "My friend likes soccer," or "My friend plays soccer." So that is what inferring or inferencing is, and we can use that with text the same way. We see the text, we read the words, what the author has written. We look for important details, clues, or important details, words, or clues in that text. We use what we know about those words, what we already know in our brain about those words. We put the 2 together and connect, and that's when we make an inference. That's when we can infer what the author might be saying that he didn't actually write on the page. So we're going to use that making inferences and inferring while we read the next story in our reading book, which is Seal Surfer. If you guys will go ahead and turn, yes, turn to page 44. You have it on page 44 in the back. Daniel and Kai, are you on page 44?
I'm on 47.
Okay, well, let's start with 44. We're going to look at the vocabulary words real quick before we start. So 44. Okay, back one more page, Kai. Raise your hand if you need to say. Okay, yes, Trevor.
On page 47, it was a different story that we were doing, and like they're going for these I forgot what they were called, but it looks like the one has like a cobra inside of its pocket.
Okay, 44 right now. Are you on 44, Kai? Kai? You on page 44? Okay. Okay, does everyone see the yellow box, the key vocabulary on page 44? Okay, Daniel, you got the key vocabulary on 44? Okay, Kai, can you read me the key vocabulary words? The words in the yellow box, can you read those loud so we can all hear them?
Bass, buffet,
Buffeted,
rising, play, surf, swell, swoop.
okay, thank you very much. Bass, buffeted, horizon, quay, surf, swell, and swoop. So let's quickly go over those words because there may be a couple in there that we may not know. So when we run into them in the story, we will know what they mean. Yes, Caitlin.
I know what.
Okay, all right, well, we're gonna see, okay, well, we're gonna go over all of them just to make sure everyone knows what they mean. The first word is bask. Bask, and bask means to rest, to like rest it in pleasant warmth.
And the warm sun.
Okay, and what I did, being that this story is about seals, I kind of printed out some pictures to go with the vocabulary words, and that's where some seals are basking in the sun. Basically, just laying out in the sun. That's what, when you think of bask, laying out in the sun, hanging out in the sun. The next word was buffeted. Buffeted is struck powerfully, blown about. And I printed out a picture of this guy. He is being buffeted by the wind. As you can see, it's about to blow his umbrella away, about to blow him down. That is what it means to be buffeted by the wind.
That's like real life.
Yes. The next one is horizon. Like I said, you guys probably already know what horizon means, but horizon is where it looks as if the where it looks like the sky and the sea meet. And it's that kind of line right across where it appears as if the sky and the sea meet. The next one was quay. Quay is actually a dock where ships are loaded and unloaded. So just this little area where the ships dock, that is a quay. So that was a word that I wasn't really familiar with, but quay is a dock. Okay, surf, we all know what surf is, to surf. He's on his surfboard surfing. That was an easy one. Swell is just like a long wave. So that's a swell. So we hear that.
Is that in real life?
Okay, and then the last one was swooped. And this is the only picture I can find, but we all, if we think about when we see a bird like swooping to yes, to get a fish. Exactly, that's what it means to swoop. So we run across those.
I always see that because they go and get fish.
Exactly, they swoop down to get the fish and then they're gone, back in the air. So when we run across those words in the story, now we understand what those mean. Yes?
This is a true story. Once in the
Real
morning,
quick.
there's this bald eagle, and it came swooping down, and it grabbed a fish out of our lake.
And then probably kept on going. Next thing, it was back up in the air. Exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the story. Let's turn to our next page where we have our title. So, okay, Seal Surfer by Michael Foreman. What we are going to do, again, we're going to keep on, we're talking about making inferences. That's kind of the main thing we're going to focus on when we read the story today. I'm sure you're going to be going over the story again in the coming days, and you're going to be focusing on different things in the story. But right now, we're just going to be focusing on making inferences.
There's comics on the back.
Okay, we're not. Dang it, I need you to be on the Seal Surfer, please. What I need you guys to do is real quickly, can you guys take a paper and pass one back? Just take one, pass one back.
Can I scoot up to this bush?
Yes, you can. We have an area right up front here.
These pages are really slow.
Okay, here's a couple more. Okay, and what we're going to do with the chart I just gave you guys, do we have enough for the 3 guys in the back?
That one was mine.
Here you go. It's right between your legs.
Good job. I'm good. Seriously.
Okay.
What are the others?
That's an extra one. Just sit it down beside you if there's an extras. Okay. Everyone has a, okay, we're listening now. Everyone, I just gave everyone a T-chart. What's going on up front here, Daniel? Vincent, what's going on? Why are you not on the story? Okay, can you get back to like page 45, 46? Okay, everyone has a T-chart, and we are going to use this T-chart to organize our information as we are making inferences in the story. On the left side, we have inference, and on the right side, we have evidence. And evidence is the same as like proof. And that proof is going to be our important detail, word, or clue from the story that supports the inference that we made. So I'm going to read the story out loud. You're going to have to pay attention because I'm going to just stop randomly at points, and we're going to stop and make some inferences. Okay, I need to go ahead and start, Trevor, so just hold that thought. Okay, so are we all, okay, page
48.
Okay, 48. Are we all on 48? In the back, are we on 48? Guys, Kai, Jonathan? Okay, okay. All right. So first of all, back to the title. It's Seal Surfer by Michael Foreman. Okay, so now we're on 48, and it's spring. So spring. One day in early spring, an old man and his grandson, Ben, carefully climbed down to a rocky beach. They were looking for mussels, which are, clams and shell. Okay. As Ben searched, he noticed a slight movement among the rocks. Then he saw the seal. It was difficult to see her body against the rocks, except for a smudge of red on her belly. "Look, Granddad," Ben cried, "the seal is injured." "Don't get too close," warned Granddad. They watched the seal from the distance. The seal looked quite calm, lying still in the morning sun, and after a while Ben started hunting for mussels again. When he next looked up at the seal, he saw a flash of white. A newly born seal pup nuzzled her mother. "Quick, Granddad," whispered Ben. "Let's get some fish for the seals." Okay, and actually we're going to stop right. Okay, exactly. We're going to stop right there. Actually, I want you to stay on those 2 pages. Don't turn the page yet. And we want to say it's how. Okay, we're going to do this one together. How do you think Ben feels about the sight of the mother and the pup? Wait, that's why you have our paper. Right now we're going to write down. We're going to write it down. But how do you think Ben feels about the sight of the mother and the pup? And why do you think so? So again, that's what our paper for. So first we need to infer. I'm going to tell you. First we need to infer. The writer doesn't say, the author doesn't say, "Oh, Ben feels very sad," or we need to infer what the writer is telling us about Ben right now when he sees that there is a seal and a new baby pup has just been born. He has just saw this item. So you're not going to give me an answer, are you? Okay, I don't want an answer. So on our left side of our T-chart, we want to write what we think the author is trying to tell us, what he didn't say. On the right side, we're gonna write proof, just something from just that little bit we've read so far that supports why you think Ben feels that way. So, and we can kind of do this one together. So if someone give me what they think, how they think Ben feels right now, okay?
Like worried because he doesn't know what the seal is like the seal might be hurt or something.
Okay, so you say Ben feels worried. Can I get another, and there is no right or wrong because we don't know. The author didn't tell us, so we don't know. Okay, I know Gabby had wanted to give me an answer. What do you think, Gabby?
That Ben wants to release somebody in the seal because the seal has an injury.
Okay, well he doesn't have an actual injury. What did the blood come from? What actually did happen? Okay, had a baby. So again, okay, Ty and okay, okay. So even just this little last sentence we read, it says, "Quick, Granddad," whispered Ben, "let's get some fish for the seals." In my opinion, I would infer just even from that he might just be actually kind of excited. I just saw, first I just saw this seal lying here and I thought it was her. Then I looked around again and there was a brand new baby pup. He could just be just kind of excited, just kind of running on adrenaline that he just saw this. Okay, so that's what I need you to write. I need you to write your inference on the left side. And then write me a detail, a word, a clue, why you think that. So Kai, you have your inference down? Did you write? Okay, how do you think Ben feels about the sight of the mother and the pup? Okay.
Is that the second question or the first?
That's still the first one. So
Oh.
Jonathan, do you have your evidence down also?
No.
Just something from what I just read that
Yeah, that's what I
supports
thought,
what
but
you
then
said.
someone said that, like, the other part of it, and I thought you said, like,
Oh, okay, and why do you think so? That's kind of the evidence. So that part would be the evidence. Why do you think so? So again, how do you think Ben feels about the sight of the mother pup? And why do you think so? The why do you think so is your
When
evidence.
we write it, it's an inference.
Under inference, you put how you think Ben feels about seeing the mother and the pup. And then put something from the text to support that as your evidence. Yes.
it doesn't say he's sad, but, in the very last few sentences on page 48, it says, "Look, Granddad," Ben cried, "the seal is injured."
Okay. Right, and are you using that to assume he's sad by saying, well, in that cry, it wouldn't be cry like tear, boo-hoo crying. That cry would be more, look, almost like a shout. Yeah, exactly. So if he's not crying, is being said, he's crying, "Granddad, come here." He's crying to his granddad to come see what he is seeing. Yes, so that's,
Cry, not cry.
okay.
Cry,
So yes, there are
not
two
cry.
different meanings for cry. Okay, so does everyone have an inference? Does everyone
need
have an
evidence.
Okay, so what is your inference, Daniel? Maybe we can help you.
Joy.
You put joy, okay, and so why did you, so just maybe even the way he said, "Quick, Granddad," how he was just joyed or excited.
I think he was like excited.
Okay, go get another one out of the thing real quick. Okay, does everyone have have evidence down? Okay, they have their inference, they have their evidence. You don't have evidence, what was your inference? You put Ben feels sad. So what in the story do you think, because again, after we decided that, remember, that cry doesn't mean that he was crying. That cry was just him kind of yelling over to his granddad to come here and come look quick. So maybe you can come up with a different inference. So maybe would you agree with us that he could be excited to see?
I did. I'm sad.
Okay, okay, let's turn to page 50 and let's move on. Okay, we're ready to move on. Everybody on page 50? Okay, I'm waiting for in the back. You on page 50 in the back, everybody? Okay, as the spring days lengthened, Ben and his granddad often watched the seal family from the cliff top. The pup's white coat molted, and molted is like shed. So his white coat molted, and she became the color of the rocks. Sometimes she moved to the water's edge to watch her mother fish. As she basked in the warm sun, again, we remember that, he's just laying out in the sun, she kept an eye on Ben and his granddad. Summer, so we're in a new season. In early summer, Ben watched as the mother seal pushed her pup off the rocks and into the sea. The shock of the cold water made the young seal panic. The water closed over her head. She pushed upward with her tail and flippers until her head burst through the surface. Her mother plunged into the water, and together they swam around and around, diving, twisting, corkscrewing into the depths. When the seal pup broke through the water's surface, she heard the boy cheer. Okay, we're going to stop right there. You can kind of look at the picture right there, and let's listen to this question. Why do you think the mother seal pushes her pup off the rocks? So let's write it down first. Why do you think, why do you think the mother seal pushes her pup off the rocks? So based on what it said, it's been a new season, it's been a few months since the seal was born. It's now summer, so the seal's getting a little older. It says, in early summer, Ben watched as the mother seal pushed her pup off the rocks and into the sea. The shock of the cold water made the young seal panic. The water closed over her head. She pushed upward with her tail and flippers until her head burst through the surface. Okay, I need you to write your inference down and then evidence, some proof. That will be an important detail, word, or clue from what we just read. So again, it's a baby now kind of growing up. The mom pushes it off the rocks and into the sea. Okay, write it down. Write it down. Write it down and put your evidence. So does first of all, does everyone at least have an inference? What they infer from what we read, why the mom seal pushed the baby seal off. Everyone has? Kai, what can you imply from that? What can you infer? Why do you think the mother seal pushes her pup off the rocks? Do you have an answer down? Okay, what are you writing? Can you tell me? Why do you think she pushed her baby off the rocks?
Get her in the water.
Excuse me?
To get her in the water.
Okay, to get her in the water, why?
For her to
Okay, speak up. For her to
swim.
For her to swim. Okay, and do you think the pup has swam before?
No.
And what makes you think she hasn't swam before? What? Wait. We only speak when we raise our hand and are called on. So Kai, again, you said you think she pushed her in the water to get her to swim. And then I asked, do you think she swam before? You said no. So what details from the story make you think she hasn't swam before? From the story, look at what we just read under summer. What may be word or detail from just that little part makes you think this is her first time in the water? What did it say that the pup did when she first got pushed in the water? She did what? Okay. Exactly. Okay. So, did everyone put something along the lines of she pushed her in order to get her to swim or to teach her to swim? Raise your hand if you put something along those lines. Okay. For those of you that, Trevor S., what did you put?
For the
Mm-hmm.
The infant.
Yes.
So she could swim.
Okay, well, I just said, raise your hand if you put something along the lines of to get her to swim or to teach her to swim. Okay? For those of you that didn't put that, give me some other things that you inferred from that. Okay, Brianne.
I didn't infant to get the baby in the water, and then I didn't do to get her to swim. I didn't because the baby would not get in the water.
Okay.
Because I remember the story, the baby just looked and wouldn't get in the water.
But that was a good detail also, that the baby would just watch the mom, so to get her in the water. Okay, but that was good, because you did catch that in the previous paragraph about that all the baby did, like you said, was just sit along kind of on the water's edge and watch her mother fish. Did someone else get something other than to get the baby to swim? Someone else want to share? What did you put, Vincent? Okay. What, yes, Caitlin?
The mother wants him to go.
Okay. Okay, because she's kind of getting old and what? Okay, all right. And why do I hear mumbling when we should be listening to Caitlin? Kai and Daniel. We should be listening to Caitlin. Caitlin was the speaker just now. Okay. So I need everyone to make sure under inference that they have, that they did put something. I would infer that it was to get her to swim. Because again, it talked about her just sitting on the rocks, watching her mom fish. I looked at the fact that the shock of the cold water made the young seal panic, meaning that she must not have been in the water before. The water closed over her head, meaning that she almost kind of sunk down. Again, that shows me that maybe that she hasn't been in the water before. So those would have been clues to say that the mother pushed her in to teach her how to swim or to get her to finally swim. Okay, next page, 52. Okay, we are on. Okay. Autumn, as we can, and kind of also watch the timeline. We started, what season did we start in?
Spring.
Okay, spring, then summer, now it's autumn. Okay, so now let's listen. Okay, we're listening. The summer days faded. One evening, Ben went down to the harbor to meet his granddad, who was returning from a day's fishing. Granddad's old pickup sat with the door open and the radio on. The music of Beethoven filled the air. Granddad stared into the water. A whiskery face stared back at him. Vincent? Okay. Granddad stared into the water. A whiskery face stared back at him like a reflection in the moonlit mirror of the harbor. Granddad tossed the seal of fish and then another. Ben watched as the mirror dissolved, reformed, and then dissolved again, as they all shared the music of Beethoven. Okay, and just on that page, just for some clarification, how it talks about a whiskery face stared back at him like a reflection in the moonlit mirror. It basically means the seal was staring back at the granddad, almost as if he was looking in the mirror, because he saw this little seal face staring right back at him, looking with the same expression kind of he had. And then how it says, and then, okay, Ben watched as the mirror dissolved, reformed. Meaning every time Granddad would throw the seal of fish, he would just chew up the fish so the reflection wouldn't be the same, because the seal would be moving around chewing up the fish. Then the seal would like get straight and stare back again. So dissolve, reform. So he'd chew up the fish, eat that fish, then he'd stare back at Granddad, they're staring at each other, he'd throw him another fish. So that's kind of what that means. But let's look, on this one, let's take a look at the relationship. I want you to tell me what you can infer about the relationship between Ben and his grandfather. So Jonathan, the relationship between Ben and his grandfather. You may even need to kind of think back to what we have already read, how the story even started, and now how the first page, the first couple sentences under Autumn, where one evening Ben went down to the harbor to meet his granddad who was returning from a day's fishing. So I want you to think about the fact that when the story started, Ben and his granddad were together looking for mussels. Okay, okay, one second. Okay. What can we infer about the relationship between Ben and his grandfather? The story started when Ben and his grandfather looking for mussels together. Ben and his grandfather watched the seals together from the cliff tops. Now Ben goes to greet his grandfather who's just come home from a long day's fishing. What can we infer, Trevor Sports, about the relationship between Ben and his grandfather? Write it down first. Write it down. What can we infer? Trevor Sports. Between the relationship, what kind of relationship do you think that Ben has with his grandfather? Think about the fact, those are the only two characters, those are the only two people we've even heard about the story. It seems like they're always together. Think about that. What can you infer about that? Ben and his grandfather, you got it written down? Write it down first. Okay, all right. Yes.
That maybe Ben's mother and father died, and so Ben is living with his grandfather.
Okay, we could infer that, because again, the author doesn't tell us. We don't know why it doesn't talk about a mom and dad. What else? Just relationship from the sense of are they very close? Does he seem to like his grandfather? Even from that, how does he feel about him? How does he feel about the grandfather? So Trevor Sports, what do you have?
They love each other.
Okay, that's a good inference. Do you have it written down? Okay, you have that written down? Okay. Did you put an inference down? Okay, what do you have?
I think they and his grandfather live close together because they hang out a lot.
Okay. Did everyone hear what Brianna wrote?
That's why.
Okay. Did everyone hear what Brianna wrote? Are you okay back there, Jonathan? Are you okay back there? Okay.
Please.
All right. Okay. So did you hear what we said about how we think the grandfather and Ben feel? Okay, because the question was, what can we infer about the relationship between Ben and his grandfather? Or what kind of relationship do they have? We talked about the fact that those really are the only two characters that have been in the story, adult characters, and that they always seem to be together. So what can we infer from that? Okay. Yes, Kate. Yes, Gabby, then we're gonna move on. Very cool. Okay, actually, can you at least let me read the other part so you can hear what I read? Okay. All right, so we are on page 54 and the season is changing again.
Are
No,
you
not
still
on every single
Are you
page.
still recording yourself?
Yes, Henry.
I noticed something about like the Ben in every picture he's in. He's got a wheelchair in this picture. He's got crutches in this picture. He's got, it's not a picture of him, but in this picture, he's like got these crutches with him. So
Okay.
I think like maybe his parents might have died in a car accident and he got hurt from that.
That's a good inference, and that's a good catch. That's an important detail from the story. Okay, we are on 54, winter. So again, the season has changed again. Are you with us in the back row?
No, not
Parents
done.
died. It's just we have to
Okay. While winter, while the wet winter
I'm
wind.
not writing. I'm not writing.
Okay, well you can listen while you're writing. Okay, I'm waiting for everyone to be quiet so we can go on.
Okay.
While the wet winter winds buffeted the boy on his way to school, the young seal learned the lessons of the sea. The seal loved to swim far from home, exploring the coast. She learned to fish by swimming deep and looking up to see the fish outlined against the sky. She slept at sea, floating upright like a bottle with just her nose above the surface. Best of all, she loved to haul herself up onto the rocks with other seals to feel the sun and the wind on her skin. But one day the wind rose suddenly into a full-blown gale. Rain and mountainous waves wrenched great rocks from the cliffs. The young seal dived deep, trying to escape falling boulders, but even in the sea, they were in danger. Some seals were dashed against the rocks by the waves. Yeah.
So still died.
You know, that's a good point. So let's let's write. You don't have to actually write this down.
She did.
But let's just talk about this for a second. Brianna is asking, did the seal die? So that's from just that little part. Is that what you inferred?
I inferred that it died.
Okay. Well, you know what we'll do? Let's keep that in your head. And as we read on, let's see if that inference was correct. Okay? All right. Well, that's good. Okay. So we're going to keep on. We're going to move on. The season is changing again to spring.
Oh, yep. It's a whole year.
Very good. You just answered my question, bright boy. I was going to see if we've noticed how long has it been.
Wait.
It's been 1 year.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because it's spring again.
Yeah.
Okay. The warmth of the spring brought wildflowers and Ben and his granddad to the cliffs once more, but there was no sign of the young seal. She must have died in the winter storm, said Ben. But sometimes the mother seal still came to the harbor for an evening of fish and music. So again, Brianna kind of thinks the baby seal might have died because it's spring. She hasn't seen the baby. Ben and his granddad haven't seen the baby seal, but the mother seal still comes and they still feed the mother seal. Okay, summer. Okay.
Our whole season. So she did die.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's read on and see. As spring warmed into summer, Ben went every Saturday to surf school. He was a strong swimmer, and after much practice, he and the other new surfers were ready to catch some waves. One sunny day, Ben lay on his board as it rose and fell on the gently rocking swell. Suddenly, he was aware of a quick movement in the water. A dark shape swooped under the board. The gleaming face of the young seal popped up beside his own. Ben was elated. "You're alive," he called, grinning. So based on that, what does elated to mean? Can someone tell me what elated might mean? How about Sonia? Sonia, what would elated mean? Says Ben was elated. "You're alive," he called,
Probably
grinning.
means like surprise.
Okay, yes, surprise.
Like really excited.
Exactly. Both of those are very good definitions. Okay, we're going to keep on going. The sea gathered itself for some big waves. The dark green walls of water lined up along the horizon. The seal sensed the movement of the water. Ben and the seal let the first two waves pass. Then together they rode the third huge rolling wave together. So the two of them are surfing together, the young seal and Ben. All afternoon, Ben and the seal surfed together. Then, just as quickly as she had appeared, the seal was gone. Ben waited a while and then let the next good wave carry him to the sand. Okay, so Brianna, we found out that you were wrong, but that's okay. But that was a good guess that you made. Okay. Okay. All right. Still summer. We're on page 58. Okay. The next day, the tide was perfect and the young seal was back. The next day, the tide was perfect and the young seal was back. Again, Ben and the seal surfed side by side. Ben could not take his eyes off the seal as he flashed through the water. As he concentrated on watching her, the wave he was riding suddenly broke and plunged him head first off his board. He somersaulted through the surf and struck a rock. The water, thick with sand, filled his nose and mouth. His body was pulled deeper and deeper. He was sinking into darkness.
Did he die?
No.
Is that what you infer from
Yes.
just that?
Gosh, no.
Well, again,
The seal's
read-
with him.
let's read. Well, is he?
Yes, it
It
is.
said, well, no, at the end of page 56, they did surf together. Then, just as quickly as he had appeared, the seal was gone. Ben waited a while, then let the next good wave carry him away. So,
The next day, though.
oh, okay, but then the next day, okay, so they were still together. Okay.
So he did.
He had come
So he
back.
did live.
That's why we have to read on to the
He
end.
He passed out in the sea.
Okay, all right, so, and why are you on page, okay, you're looking ahead. All right, so next, then he felt a different sensation. His body was forced upward. Sunlight shone through the water onto Ben's face as the seal pushed his body up. We're waiting on Caitlin and her hair problems. Okay. I mean Sage with her hair problems. Okay. With the final, okay. Sunlight shone through the water onto Ben's face as the seal pushed his body up. With a final heave, he flipped Ben onto the board. He held on, and the next wave carried him to the shore. His friends crowded around to make sure he was all right. Once he caught his breath, Ben felt fine. The next afternoon, and for the rest of the long, hot summer, Ben surfed with the seal. Okay, so we know now that Trevor S. that you.
So he didn't. He's not dead.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, we got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Winter, season changing again. The wonderful summer and gentle autumn were followed by the worst of winters. The storms smacked the rocks and churned up the sand and stones. The beach was deserted. No seals came there. So this winter they saw no seals. Okay, spring. This is where we're going to make our.
2 years.
Very good. It's been 2 years since the seal pup was born. Okay, and this is
So
where
she's
we're
2
going
years
to
old.
listen. Exactly.
2 years old.
And I need you guys to listen because this is where we're going to make our last inference and then finish up the
Doesn't
story.
he have to go to school?
Okay, he does.
Oh,
It
yeah.
mentioned that.
It does.
Spring. When the next spring brought the wildflowers to the cliffs, it brought Ben, but not his grandfather.
Uh-oh.
The boy and his friends ventured far along the cliffs, but they could find no sign of the seals. So, under spring, when it said, when the next spring brought the wildflowers to the cliffs, it brought Ben, but not his grandfather. What can we infer from, write it on your paper. What can we infer from just that sentence and from other things we've read in the story? Even the clue of what you guys have been saying about the time, that it's been 2 years. So think it's been 2 years. Thinking about the illustrations of what the grandfather looked like. So let's infer. What can we infer about the grandfather? Why was the grandfather not with him this spring? And then let's put some evidence. Okay, you got your evidence, Henry? You got your evidence and your inference? Okay, you got it written down? You got it written down?
Okay.
No, you don't. Why did you, I thought you got another pencil, Sage, you got another pencil. Okay, okay. James, what can you infer from that? Why was Ben's grandfather not there this spring?
He died.
Okay, so the author didn't tell us that, but we
died.
could infer that. What is something else we could infer?
That's
That's your choice, that he died.
Buried.
Oh, well, okay, well,
Maybe a bear
Caitlin,
ate
what's
him.
another
Maybe a bear
option?
ate him.
We're listening to Caitlin. We are listening to Caitlin. Okay, now Caitlin. Okay, so Caitlin says he's just maybe really hurt. James said he died. What's maybe one other?
By the hair.
Tango.
We're waiting. Okay, Ethan, what's another option?
Maybe while he was fishing, then he might have fell out of his boat.
You guys got some gruesome options. Really, really hurt, falling out his boat. Give me something a little nicer. Okay. All right. Sage, what do you think? Okay, we're listening to Sage. Wait, Sage. Wait, Sage. Okay, but why is the grandfather not with him this spring? Remember? But he's at the same beach that he's always been at. So you think on that one. Just give me one other, and I'm not saying any of them are right or wrong. Just, okay, Kai.
Tidal wave.
Okay. All right.
Maybe
So-
he was eaten by a bear.
Okay.
What's
Okay.
that?
All right. Okay.
Should I
I'll wait. No, well, we all need to wait though, Trevor. We need to wait till everyone's quiet.
Yeah, I do.
We need to wait until everyone's quiet so we can listen to Trevor. Daniel, we need to wait. We need to be quiet so Trevor can talk.
Yeah.
Okay, quickly, Trevor.
Okay, probably the baby seal got mad because he didn't feed him enough and he pushed a gigantic rock on him and then he died out of the winter.
Okay, Trevor, do you have something to say, James? Okay, let's listen to James. Let's listen to James. I'm Jacob, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We're waiting. When everyone's quiet, you can talk.
That was funny.
When everyone's quiet, Jacob can talk.
Probably went to Hawaii. He probably had a heart attack or something. He might have been there when the boy was surfing. And he probably saw the boy and Skip Herring probably had a heart attack. Was probably in the hospital or something.
Okay, all right, and one more son, and Sonia,
By a bear.
we're waiting. Sonia, you can speak when everyone's quiet.
Stop being ridiculous. It's not good.
Okay,
It's not funny either. Wait, what? It's just
and
ridiculous.
Sonia, you can speak when everyone's
Henry's right.
Okay, Sonia is waiting to speak.
What?
Henry, we're waiting on you too.
Yeah. What?
Go ahead, Sonia. Wait, Sonia, I still can't hear you.
Probably the grandfather died because he was getting too old, so probably that's why he died.
Okay, all right. So again, the author doesn't, that's all about making inferences. Guys, I'm speaking now, Vincent. Again, the author didn't state directly what happened to the grandfather, but what I would infer would be either the grandfather may have died, or he could be just too elderly to continue to come out to the beach with Ben like he used to. So those would be, I'm speaking now.
Check it. Check it. It's not
Yeah.
funny. You've said it
Yes,
too
and I'm
many
waiting.
times. The first time it was funny.
Okay, thank you, Henry, I'll handle it.
Now it's old school. It's
James, Vincent. Okay. So I would infer, as I was saying, that Trevor, yes,
Yes.
thank you, that he might have either died or was just too elderly to continue to come out. And I would base that assumption on the details that we've seen where he was elderly, is old, I'm sorry, that's what elderly is, that he's just gotten too old.
He's too old.
Okay, and I think if you even look at some of the illustrations back into the story, they showed him as maybe having like a beard. He did look old in the story. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let's finish. Let's see how the story ends, and I will finish up as soon as everyone is quiet.
Definitely Yoda.
He got it in front of a deer.
I will finish the story when everyone is quiet, Trevor.
Trevor, shush.
It's not funny. What's so funny?
Okay, yes, exactly, Caitlin, exactly. We're wasting the movie time.
Not funny.
Exactly. You're gonna probably watch like a commercial,
Yeah.
not the actual movie.
I like the Geico
Okay,
Somebody else.
okay, we're finishing up Vincent Summer. As the evenings grew lighter toward the start of the summer, Ben began fishing from the quay, as his granddad had done before him. One evening, as he watched the still water, two shiny heads broke through the surface. Ben cheered as he saw the once young seal. Ben cheered as he saw the once young seal, now as whiskery as his granddad, with
This field.
with her young
Something's wrong
pup.
with that.
Okay. Okay, we're on 63. Ben smiled. We're on page 63. Ben smiled. He knew then that he would ride the waves with the seals that summer and every summer. And maybe one day he would lie on the cliff tops with his own grandchildren, and together they would watch the seals. So what became of the young seal pup? What about under summer on page 62? On page 62, Daniel and Kai. Okay, well, now I want Daniel and Kai to get on page 62. Okay. So the seal finally did come back, and what did the seal have with him, with her? Daniel or Kai?
A baby. A pup.
Okay.
You can say goodbye.
Vincent. Guys, we could keep going again. We could just not watch any movie. And I can just keep on going and going and going and going until lunchtime. I know you guys wouldn't like that. Right, exactly, Brianna. You wouldn't like that, would you?
I want to watch a movie.
Okay, so in that case, can we okay, here are the instructions. Can we quietly close our reading books? Can everyone hand their T-charts? Hopefully it has your name on it.
What's the T-shirt?
That was the paper that you were using. That I didn't tell you what to do. I didn't tell you who to hand it to. Yes. Can everyone hand their chart to Trevor J? Can everyone hand their charts to Trevor J?
Are you still videotaping us?
Okay. I need you guys to listen. I need you to listen. And Okay. And then can I go, get you guys to go ahead and head to your desk?
Yeah.
And then I have one more item for you all to do. You can quietly put your books away. You will still need your pencils.